Okay guys, so Happy New Year. Happy New Year from me to anyone that watches this. So 9th of January in Bucharest in Romania. 9th of January 2019. I'm out at an area called Pantelimon, which is on the outskirts of Bucharest, probably about 20 minutes by metro with the train. But it's nice and open out here, so when it snows like it did last night, big dump of snow, it really accumulates on the ground, so you get the full effect. Plus the lake behind me freezes up and all the ice fishermen come out. It's frozen at the moment, but you can see the snow on there, which means it's definitely solid underneath, and that is frozen. That's a layer of ice on top of the lake, but I wouldn't walk across it at the moment because we haven't had the consistent cold nights yet. We've had -2s, 3s, but for Romania and Bucharest in winter, and apologies looking down, I just got, there's a lot of slush, so I don't want to get my shoes, even though I've got nice snowshoes on. I don't want to get them too wet. But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so -2s and 3s here. That's like summer. Now, it's not the cold, bitter Eastern European temperatures that you will get eventually in winter here. But the thing is, it's consistent -2s and 3s over periods of weeks. So even though, you know, you might not be getting the really cold over -10s, -2s and -3s, when you got that for weeks and weeks, day in, day out, it adds up. And it's like being in a fridge. Every day, it's like you just walk out and it feels like you're going into your family fridge at home. But you get used to it, and it is nice. And I say to a lot of people, I mean, you know, look at that behind. Just the whiteness in itself is pure beauty. It's fresh. The temperature smacks you in the face and wakes you up. And that winter, when you got pine trees with snow in them, and it's cold, and you can rug up, have a hot chocolate inside, cup of soup, nice stew, and in the morning you wake up, you put on a pot of coffee, you can smell the coffee in the house, in the kitchen, you look out, it's grey, it's cold, it's snowing. Something really nice about that. It's comforting, and it's a small pleasure in life. I don't normally do selfie videos or selfie vlogs. I don't really like, I like watching first person when people do them, but myself no, because I don't consider myself to be the most photogenic person around. I know I shouldn't be worried about that, but but that's just me. But you know, I start to enjoy it, and I think this time of year in a place like this, where you can actually capture the beauty, maybe show it to people that are thinking about coming out this way, I don't mind doing it. So apologies, a bit shaky and things. I don't use a gimbal. I don't use a selfie stick. I'm just holding this in my hand. But we may have to progress to that if I start to do more of this kind of stuff. But yeah, for look, anyone thinking of coming to Romania, if you've heard any horror stories, forget about them. You know, it's a beautiful country. Life can be hard here, and life is still hard here for many people. It's tough, you know, the salaries are low, the pension is not the best. You know, I think the government tries to do what it can, but it's still got massive issues with corruption and nepotism and things like that. But everyone, by and large, at the moment gets by, you know. Everyone gets by. Yeah, it's hard, but they get by. But in terms of the country, beautiful country, beautiful people, you know, the people are just friendly. They can appear stern at times, you know. You might go and say good morning to someone in a shop and order something and they just got a really angry look on their face or very stern. That's just the way it is, you know. Don't take it personally. You know, a lot of people here say it's a hangover from the old Ceausescu communist days where, you know, people just didn't smile at each other. If you smiled at someone, people were thinking, you know, what the hell does this person want? Or are they Securitate, you know, trying to get friendly for some means to an end? So I think there's a bit of a hangover from that. But once you break the ice, you know, if you speak a bit of Romanian, learn some words. Now, my Romanian is pretty good now. I can understand, I can hold a conversation. So, you know, once people see that you've made the effort, it breaks a lot of barriers down, as it does anywhere in the world. But yeah, look, all the horror stories about Romanians are thieves and pickpockets, and there's a certain group of people that give Romania a bad name, and, you know, I'm not going to denigrate anyone and get into that, because it's not my place to do that. But don't believe everything you hear. You know, there's a lot of Romanians that work overseas that are very, very well qualified, probably better qualified than some of people we have in our own countries, you know. And they go overseas and they make good livings and they support families back home. And they're also the hard-working blue-collar Romanians that go overseas and make a decent, honest living through hard work in menial jobs and that. So anyone that says, yeah, they're all bloody thieves and beggars, boot them out of the EU, don't let them in, that's a certain type of person from this country that gives the place a bad name that most Romanians don't really consider as Romanians. So I'll leave it at that. Prices are great. The place is cheap. You can get very decent meals here, very good quality meals at a really good price. If you want the best of the modern world, malls and all that sort of stuff, which doesn't really interest me, yes, you got some of the best malls in the world here with all the bling. But if you want to keep it simple and just go to local markets and buy fresh produce straight from the garden and coming in from the local farms, you can do that too and keep it very, very cheap. Things like milk, cheese, the basics, all very cheap. Electricity here is, by Western standards, very cheap. Internet here is great. It's consistently within the top 10 countries in the world in terms of internet speeds and price. Pricing is crazy. You know, I might do some more adventurous stuff with the vlogging at some stage and put up, you know, put up things that pop up on the screen, and we'll add some stuff in the comments. But prices here for internet are just ridiculously low, and the speeds that you get are great. So it all adds up. Rent's fairly cheap. By Western and European standards, you can get a two-bedroom apartment, if not in the centre of Bucharest, about 10-15 minutes out. Fairly modern, normally part or fully furnished. You know, for €450 a month. So that's about, for any Aussies watching, €450, that's about $650, $700 a month. You know, some places in Australia paying that per week easily. So again, €450, £350, £380. And yeah, they have everything from very basic accommodation, which you can get cheaper than that. And if you want to go live on the outskirts in a, you know, in not one of the more salubrious located suburbs, like, you know, you can get something for probably €200 a month. So yeah, all in all, look, come and visit Romania. I see increasingly more tourists here all the time, so not only just in summer but in winter as well. We get a lot of tourists through here now. You can hear the accents all the time. So have a look around Bucharest. There's a lot of history here. Then you can get on. Public transport's excellent. A lot of Romanians put themselves down over it. You know, they say, wow, public transport's so bad, you know. Well, I'll tell you what, coming from Sydney, which classes itself as a first world progressive country, right up there in terms of standards and everything, this public transport here shits all over Sydney. Sydney's trains are a joke. It's always bloody track work, delays, trains broken down, you know, problems with signalling, especially in Sydney. They're just garbage. And when you're talking about peak hour, where you're getting some trains running bloody every 10 or 15 minutes, here they run every 2 to 3 minutes consistently. You've got trolley buses, you've got normal buses, you've got trams. So the whole city's covered, and very cheaply too. You can get monthly passes, weekly, daily pass. I get a monthly pass, which is 50 RON. So 50 RON is about, what's that, about 16 Aussie dollars. 16 Aussie dollars for the month. I can ride as much as I want. Yeah, and that's cheap. That's absolutely cheap as anything. So the public transport's great. You can hop on the, what they call the IR, interregional trains, and go out of Bucharest up to the mountains. about an hour and 20 minutes. You can head up the mountains to Brasov, see the royal residence up there, Parcul Pantelimon. You can go to Sinaia. Sinaia is a smaller sort of ski resort. There's 2 world-class gondolas that go up right up the top of the mountains for the ski runs. A lot of cheap accommodation. Yeah, so Sinaia, Brasov, definitely worth a look. But yeah, beautiful place. So, like I said, I definitely recommend to come and have a look. So everyone here is pretty friendly. Bună ziua. Hello. Hello. So yeah, people just out here enjoying themselves, skiing, tobogganing. As you can see, the little kid was pretty friendly. Dad gave a wave, kid gave a wave. Alright, I'll sign off from here and post some more videos down the track.